And we're live. We're actually not live. We're live here and now with now, 6, 7, 8 of us, to someone else just popped on by phone. So welcome to whomever that is to today's ritual, the time bender ritual that we do inside of a company called Kimbra. And I'm going to start out our talk today just by telling you a little bit about myself. Some of you who have been joining this week after week know plenty about me. Some of you, like Doc, I've known you since 2014. And it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in years. So that's amazing. And some of you also know me just from other personal things that we've shared. And then some of you have no idea who I am. So that's why I'm going to start with introducing who I am and how I created this ritual and why it works so well. So I am a serial entrepreneur. My name is Kira McCown, formerly Kira Elliott. And I'm a serial entrepreneur. Right now I own and operate 2 different businesses, co-own and operate 2 different businesses. One of them is called Comfy Fitness. And Comfy Fitness is a business that I have owned for 13 years now. And we are basically in the business of creating freedom in people's movement through exercise and through tension and trauma relieving exercises like clinical somatics and tremoring. We do online group fitness classes, as well as personal private training. And like I said, I've been doing that for 13 years. And I basically owned a business my entire adult life. I worked in corporate America for a whole 2 years, and that was enough. That was enough for me. And so when I was 25 is when I started my fitness company. After moving from Los Angeles to Chicago. So that was my first business, but intermittently I owned several others, and presently I also co-own this one called Kimbra, which I actually started with Kimberly Genovese, which I think a few of you were invited by today. And Kimberly and I did a lot of leadership training together through Landmark Worldwide, where we did our Introduction Leaders program together, and we also did a program called Team Management, the Team Management program together. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden blanking on what the full name of that is. Team Management, though, that's what I'm going to call it right now.
And Team Management and Leadership.
And leadership, if Vicky knows. Team Management and Leadership. I was team 1 leader, and you think I'd remember, but of course, in the moment, my mind blanked. I'm gonna blame it on being 21 weeks pregnant right now. So I'm blaming everything on that because people seem to let you do that. And so that's where I'm gonna go with that. But as well as that, I've also been a sales director in Mary Kay. And I did Mary Kay for 5 years because, again, I just did not want to get like a normal job when I was trying to basically fill in the gaps of my income. So I did that for a while, as well as doing some odd sort of jobs here and there, listing items on eBay for folks independently. Also running something called the Heartbreak Bootcamp many years ago that we invented. Just a lot of creation, a lot of stuff. Beyond that, I've been a political activist since 2003, and a political organizer since 2009. I've been involved in several different organizations, including US Uncut, Wolfpack, which is how I know Doc here. And presently I do political punditry and contribute to Hard Lens Media, which is a news outlet in Chicago, and we do a show through YouTube. Oh, and I'm echoing. There we go. So that's a little bit about me and what I do and why I have been obsessed with scheduling for a long time. I've read all of the books, right? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Getting Things Done, all kinds of books about being organized and making projects move forward. But I would say that I feel like I really perfected this ritual through the Team Management and Leadership program, because that program, it hands your booty to you. And without that, I don't think that I would have been in a place where I really felt like I had to get it, right? And so that's actually where I feel like I've perfected this. So just so you know, that's over years of time of really piecing this thing together. And so I just want all of you to know that as you move yourself through this ritual, it's not going to be perfected probably in a week, maybe even in a month. But as you continue to ritualize basically your time management, it will start to get more and more to a place where you're actually managing your time, and you're not always in a place of oh my gosh, where did the time go? How did the month of September go by, right? And I haven't gotten anything done. I mean, it's a really common conversation that we hear ourselves say. And I am committed that anybody who is inside of this ritual, whether it's weekly or whether you decide to join monthly, that you aren't always having that conversation with yourself. It's not constantly on repeat. So what else do we do in Kimbra? So ever since, one of the reasons I started actually ritualizing this with a group is because as a personal trainer, one of the common excuses or reasons that I hear for people not getting exercise in is that they don't have time. And so I was like, come on, man, I am busy. I can do a lot of stuff and I still get my exercise in, right? And so I'm like, there's got to be some other reason for this. And so I was already ritualizing my time management at that point before Kimbra really came to be what it is today. And so I just started inviting people to join me over Zoom. This was maybe 2 years ago. I just started inviting people who were telling me they didn't have time to join me while I was doing my calendar. And it just sort of snowballed into this thing that people started getting a lot of use out of. And simultaneously, Kimberly and I were creating Kimbra, which actually was originally a course for entrepreneurs that did include time management and that sort of thing. But it just sort of morphed into let's make this what Kimbra is, right? And it just made a lot of sense. So we have 2 other rituals that we do every single week. On Monday, we do Money Whisperer. So it is a space just like this one for folks to come in and take care of any responsibility that you have around creating your budget, executing your budget, talking and being in communication with people who are impacting your budget, and all of the things that we all avoid around budgeting, right? How many times have you said oh, I just got to cancel that subscription, and then it just doesn't happen? So that is the space that we create for people to really take responsibility around their budgeting. Very, very simple. It's not necessarily coaching. It's just a creation of space for people to schedule those things in. And then on Wednesday nights, we do Rainmaker. And Rainmaker is led by Kimberly, for those of you who know Kimberly. And I love that ritual. I think it is my favorite of the week. And that is the space for entrepreneurs, creatives, freelancers to all have an opportunity to build their lists and create who they're going to be in communication with in regards to what they're up to, whether it's a project, whether it's building a business, whatever it is you need people for and you need to be in communication around. That is the space where we organize that. And the reason we chose money, communication, slash leads, and time is because these are often the things that business owners, creatives, freelancers, all kind of slide under the rug when, you know, other things in life come up, right? They're easy things to just kind of put on the back burner, because it's really the stuff that we just depend on ourselves for, right? Like, you know, especially if you're a solopreneur, there's nobody like breathing down your neck to be like, did you budget today? Did you cancel that subscription today? Did you sign up for that thing you need to do? Like, none of that is happening for us. So we create that space of community, of fun, of accountability around all of these things that generally business owners, creatives and entrepreneurs, or freelancers have trouble staying committed to. Okay, so there are 5 different guidelines that we follow in Kimbra. We call these Kimbra's 5 guidelines for prosperity. So buckle up. Number 1 is we create money, communication, and time. Well, sorry about that. I'm going to start that over. 1, this is more of a, you know, be sure to create money, communication, and time rituals for your business and life, or businesses in life for many of us. Make them something you look forward to. So that's like something that's really big for us, is like, you want to make sure that whatever you're ritualizing in life is something that you're going to look forward to ritualizing, so that you do it. You know, if it's a real drag to like be building out your leads list, chances are you may not do it. I mean, some of us are really good with like the whole willpower thing and like powering through, but why make it painful when you could actually have a lot of fun around creating these things for yourself? So, you know, make time, money, and communication something that you're ritualizing, and make it something that you look forward to doing week after week. And in some cases, you know, for some of us, for me, you know, day to day, right? I think I update my budgets every other day, and I know that I update my calendar on a daily basis, you know, and it's like thrilling to me. But I mean, I again, like, different strokes, different folks. Hello, Mike, welcome. Thanks for joining. It's so good to see you here. And then number 2, you want to be malleable with your structures, because they're always going to be changing. So that's a really important one to take on, because as you get like more and more into the structure of ritual and ritualizing the things that you want to see growing, your structures are probably going to change, because you'll see that things in your life are starting to change, right? And so always be ready to be like flexible and malleable around whatever it is you've already created. Like if something stops working, but it used to work, that's probably a good time to start looking at like, how can I adjust or readjust what I've been doing and how I've been doing it. And that was a really big one that I learned in that team leadership program that I took, was just like, I was constantly shifting how I was doing things to make it fit what was actually going on. So don't get stuck in anything that's not working. Be committed to your outcomes, not attached to what the journey looks like. So this one is a big one, especially when you're in the world of creation. So first of all, you know, to be committed to outcomes, what we want to do is make sure that we are we're creating, right? Because it can be really, really hard to know what outcomes you're committed to if you're not creating what outcomes you want to be committed to. So that's kind of more step one inside of this. But then also a lot of things that there's a stuckness that ends up happening a lot of the time. And that stuckness is, well, it's not supposed to take this long, or it's not supposed to go this fast. You know, either of those conversations I've definitely heard. And really taking on that, like, it's really all in the journey. It's all in the commitment to the outcome, not necessarily how the journey is looking for you. And again, just to go back to number 2, be malleable about things. Sometimes even those outcomes start to shift a little bit. And so, be aware, be ready, be in the listening of your own, what your body is telling you, what your environments are telling you, and really being aware of what it is you want, and then having that be in your future. Take what works for you. This is number 4. Take what works for you and your life, and just throw away the rest. So in today's ritual, I might show you something or say something that you're like, that wouldn't work for me. Believe me, that is so like who I am when people are like sharing things with me, like, that wouldn't work for me, right? And that's okay. First of all, you may want to look at like, well, what's the resistance, and see if that's actually the case, if it's actually something that wouldn't work for you. But also, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Again, we're like not here to like shove square pegs into round holes. What we're trying to do is really create something that you can ritualize that works for you and your life, because all of our businesses are different. All of our lives are different. One of the best examples of that is like the way somebody structures something who has children is going to be different than the way of somebody who structures something that doesn't have children, because those are 2 really big life differences, that the structure might look a little bit different. Something may work for one group of people that doesn't work for another group of people. And there ain't nothing wrong with that, okay? So, and then number 5 is time is finite, so bend it wisely. Money is infinite, so whisper from abundance. And communication is magic. It makes the rain. So those are our 3 weekly rituals. Monday's Money Whisperer. Wednesday is Rainmaker. And every Friday at 3:30, we do the Time Bender ritual to create our next week. We do run a 21-day trial, free trial of Kimbra, where you can try all of the rituals, one of them, whatever works for you, for 3 weeks at no commitment, other than just to yourself and to whatever it is you're creating in your life. And then you can, of course, become a member or decline. And if you choose to become a member, we started this lockdown special, this, COVID lockdown special. And it looks like we're going to have this COVID lockdown special for a while, for the 6 months, to be a member and to be able to attend all 3 rituals. It's $30.99 a month. And then after 6 months of that, the price goes up to $59.99. So that is our pricing. Is it possible to put the 5 Be Sure To's in the chat? Yes, Vicki. Thank you for asking. I usually have the Money Whisperer, Kathy, here doing that for me. And so I love that you just brought that up. Let me go ahead and make that go to everyone. Okay, it's not going to let me copy and paste that, but I will put it in the chat because there is going to be some journaling time coming up here, and it will be an easy time for me to go ahead and do that. That'll be fine. Cool. Oh, and somebody from the Kimbra rituals just joined us. I don't know if it's Kimberly or Kathy, who's our Money Whisperer, and she has owned
Kathy.
Hey, Kathy. And Kathy has been an owner of a bookkeeping company for, 14 years, Kathy? I never remember how long.
15.
15 years. So, and she's, she's the bookkeeper. She's the money woman of the group. So if you have any questions specifically about Money Whisperer at the end of this, she would be your lady. But I'm sure I could answer the questions too.
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. So before we go ahead and dive in to our journaling and the completion of the quarter we are about to pass by, which is quarter 3, does anybody have any questions about how Kimbra works, who I am, the guidelines, Vicki? I will get that into the chat, I promise, once we start journaling, so then y'all can have those for yourselves. But any questions on any of that? All right. Wonderful. Sounds good. That's how thorough I am. All right. Wonderful, you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. Please go ahead, whatever you brought as your journal, any kind of notebook works, a piece of paper, go ahead and grab that. Now, if this is a ritual that you are considering doing week after week, or even if you want to join monthly, because I do this ritual monthly to create every new month, like I know, Doc, you've been joining, you've been an avid monthly joiner. What I would recommend doing is using a notebook or a journal that you will always want to use for your time bender ritual, so that you have all of your previous notes with you every time you're inside of the ritual. Otherwise, if you're here just trying it on and you're not sure, and you have a scrap of paper, that works too. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So you have your notebook, you have your pen. Here's what we're going to do first. Before we create anything new, we need to complete the previous quarter or month or week. And since we are creating quarter 4, you guys, can you believe it? I can barely believe it. Since we're creating quarter 4, we're going to complete quarter 3. So before we start writing, though, I bet quarter 3, when you really look back on it, like June, July, or what was it? September, sorry, August, July, August, September, my bad. Really thinking about what happened through those 3 months. So let's just take a moment before we start any of our journaling, any of our writing, to really take a moment to reflect on what that looked like. Now, if you're a regular time bender, you may want to go to your projects or your last quarterly planning and taking a look at like what happened, what didn't happen. Or if you do regular quarterly planning, you don't have to be a time bender to be a regular quarterly or monthly planner. Go ahead and reflect on that. If you're somebody who keeps a meticulous calendar, take a moment, look at what's happened over the last 3 months of your life. Or maybe you have a stellar memory, unlike yours truly, who couldn't even remember a program I was a part of for a full year. And just reflect on like, what did I do in July? What happened in August and September this last month? So let's just take some time for that, just for remembering. And if there is something you want to write down, to remember, of course, there are no rules around not writing something down in your notebook, but just a time for reflection so you can get a really good handle on what happened over the last 3 months. And then here's what I'm going to do. I need to keep reflecting, but I am going to put 3 minutes on a timer. I'm a personal trainer, so I do a lot of timing of things. We're going to put 3 minutes on a timer, And it's not like a race or it's not anything like that. It's just so that we move on with the other journaling prompts, but I still give you space to really, write out what's there. And I want you to, as stream of conscious as you can, write all of your wins, your accomplishments, how you grew, breakthroughs you've had, all of like the good stuff, all of the awesome things that happened or that you created over the last 3 months. Like I want you to get braggadocious about it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 minutes on the clock. Have your journal ready, get set, and go ahead and start writing out all of the wins you've had over the last 3 months in quarter 3. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up what you're writing. And you can always add to this. It's not like a, test where you have to put down your like number 2 pencil or anything like that. You can always add as more of your memory around successes that you've had come to mind. Hey, Valerie, come to mind. Definitely write them down. Don't leave them out. We want to be able to like really feel our accomplishments, really be aware of them. One of the reasons I do this to start the ritual is because our limbic brain tends to remember all the things that went wrong. Like everything that went wrong, like, oh my God, I didn't do this, and I didn't do that. And, And so we want to bring into our awareness and into the space all of the things that did go right, all of the things that you did in fact do. And so definitely have that in front of you and definitely add to it. So the next question, if and when you're ready, is what did you create at the beginning of quarter 3? So at the beginning of July, or what? And if you didn't actually like sit down and create anything the way that we're going to today, that's okay. But you could even take it a different way. Like, what did you imagine by this time of year you would have complete? Because even if you didn't formally create anything, there might be something in your awareness that you're like, by now I thought this would be done, or that. And then so think on that. What did you imagine would be done by the end of this quarter that isn't complete? And then to add to that question, and we'll just take a couple minutes because there might be a couple of things. I want you to think on what was missing. What was missing that would have made a difference for you in completing those items? So take a moment here. I'll put another 3 minutes on the clock for journaling, and you can always add to your wins area if there is more for you to add to that. So 3 more minutes on the clock just to time us out and to keep us moving forward. And those of you who join the ritual regularly, of course, can go back and look at your quarter 3 planning, your September, August, July planning. Remember, it's a 2-parter. So what did you imagine you'd have done by now that isn't complete? And what was missing that would have made a difference? And try to stay away from like more time, right? Maybe there's a way of being that you could have brought in to the equation is what was missing. Or some kind of strategy that was missing. Maybe you could have ritualized some items and that was missing. Something that could actually be created like now by you. Think on that for just a little longer, and I'll read the next question, but of course you don't need to move on. Awesome. Go ahead and wrap that up if you're ready to. And if you're still thinking on that, just be with that. If you have any questions, of course, I'm right here. Meow, meow, meow. Last question in our completion journaling. And that is, what resentments or regrets from the last quarter are you ready to let go of? Are there any resentments or regrets from the last quarter that you're ready to let go of? I'll put like 2 minutes for this one. What are you ready to let go of, or who are you ready to forgive? It's another really good question. All right, and we'll wrap that one up. Okay. So, always feel free to add anything to the journaling that you want to add. Also, just to bring us present to something else, that being that there are 5 days left in this quarter. So something else to reflect on inside of completion of the quarter is whether or not there's any, I call them Hail Marys, any Hail Marys that you could take on in the last 5 days of this quarter that you have space for, that you could strategically put into your calendar, that would really get this quarter complete for you. So if there's anything in the last 5 days, like as you're reflecting on what you thought was going to happen, what did happen, all of that, there's anything in these last 5 days that you want to make sure to write down either into your calendar or just on, on a tasks list. Go ahead and write that down so that it's there for you. And I would recommend putting it into the calendar if you're really committed to getting it done, planning it, strategizing it in. Okay, so if there are any Hail Marys in these last 5 days, that would get you closer or get you, really what we're looking for is get you complete, like a feeling like, what happened is what happened, and I'm ready to create newly. And then lastly, I want to create a space for completion around any sharing, and so I'm going to allow anybody to share for just 2 minutes. We'll take, we'll say 3 shares. So if there's something that somebody wants to share to get complete with the last quarter, with the community, now is the time to unmute. Remember, this is being recorded, so all your business is going to be broadcasted, which I'm sure makes everybody feel very settled about that. But yeah, if there's anything that you want to share with the community that would help get you complete, and shares could be like bragging, like sometimes it's not, it doesn't feel right to like brag about things. And so this is kind of that opportunity for you if you want to brag about something, if there's something you want to kind of like bitch about, that could also be something for you, or anything that you just need to talk yourself through a little bit. I'll give 2 minutes in the space right now for anybody that wants to share. So if that's you, just go ahead and start talking. And if nobody's up for sharing, then that is okay too. I just create the space. Again, I don't want anybody to feel pressure that they need to like say something to fill the space. So anybody who wants to share.
Okay, I got something.
All right, Doc. Yeah, I'm going to put you 2 minutes on the clock.
All right.
Here we go.
I know why I'm the only not shy one here today. Usually I'm the first one to keep the camera on. I haven't told hardly anyone about this yet, but I have applied and been accepted back at my old school, SIU, to go for completing my degree, the music business degree. So after 25 years,
nice.
go back and finish it. We're getting ready to go back to classes in the spring. So yeah, I had to tell somebody about it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Brag, and Vicky's giving you the clap, clap, clap. I don't know if you can see.
Let's do that. Woo, go.
That is a big deal. That's awesome, Doc. That's so good to hear. That's great. Cool. Anything else for you want to share?
Well, my wife's birthday is coming up on Monday, and one of my goals was to set up things for her birthday, and she's in the other room, so I can't go into detail. But Kira, if you're free on Monday night, I might have an invite for you.
Okay. I have a car now, Doc.
Hey.
Hey, I forgot to put that down on my successes for the quarter. So that's actually a possibility. Yeah. Awesome.
That's all I got.
That's awesome. Oh, tell Deb I said hi. I miss her.
Okay.
Awesome. Congrats, dude.
Thank you.
All right. Any other shares? All right. We got Vicky. What's going on?
So thank you, Kara. So in this last quarter, I accomplished so much in the last 3 quarters inside of COVID, so much more than I ever have. And today before this call, I made a call that I'd been resisting, and it was around funding for a project. And inside of that, having made that call, and then inside of your presencing me to that we still have 5 days, I see some things that I have not accomplished that I thought I would have accomplished, that I wanted to accomplish. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I have an opportunity to get $1,000 back on a program that I paid for if I generate $15,000 worth of business. And I haven't done that yet. And I have people in my funnel. So I'm like, I'll make those calls. The call that I made earlier for funding went so smoothly and unexpected. And a moment ago, my phone rang and somebody else I had called about that called back. So I'll follow up on that later tonight, but it's really great. So thank you for presencing me to what's possible and how that I still have 100% of my program.
That's right. I love it. Yes, there's still 100% of the quarter left. That's awesome. Yeah, that was always one of my favorite things. And then what's your business, Vicki?
So I have a coaching business.
Okay.
And inside of COVID, I actually completed 5 different certification programs.
Holy
Yeah.
buckets.
Yeah. So Rodan and Fields is my skincare company that I sell, Rodan and Fields. And I do automotive consulting. So I coach around how to elevate the customer experience. And I have all high-level automobile manufacturers that I work with. But I recently started coaching, personality assessment coaching called Bank. And so there are 4 different personality types. And we all have a part of those. But I'm now going to be selling coaching, which I've never sold my coaching before. I always went through agencies and production companies, but this expands me outside of the automotive realm, which is really great. And inside of that, I took a speaking and coaching sales class with Eric Lofholm, who wrote the scripts for Tony Robbins for a couple of years. And so I've been investing, and now I have the opportunity in my miracle quarter on team, because I'm between team 1 and team 2.
Oh, that's great.
I was team 1 team leader for the last 6 months, actually, because of COVID. So I have an opportunity now to actually start monetizing the things that I had gotten my accreditation on. And then I also recently wrote a book. I'm one author within collaborating within a book, and Valerie is in the earlier series, the Victorious series, and I'm in the Unstoppable series. So I get to sell that now too. So
booyah, that deserves a big booyah. Awesome. That is killer. And just to put a bug in your ear, Vicki,
okay.
Kimbra is a great partnership and referral source for people in coaching. Just so you know. So I don't know I'm guessing Kimberly invited you to this space. So Kimberly might be a good person for you to talk to inside of how that could work. But because we're not necessarily coaches, we just sort of accelerate the things that, kind of the day-to-day stuff that nobody wants to do. It's great, because then coaches have an opportunity to actually coach the things that aren't well, did you do this thing? So they can say, yes, I did. I did it in my ritual. So awesome, Vicki. Thanks for sharing, and way to go. Holy cow. That's a big deal. Great.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, everybody. I think we are going to move on at this point, so that we can start to create. And this is my favorite part. So in your notebook, you can create a clean page for yourself. You can I do little squiggle lines to separate things. I don't know, whatever your style is. Now we're going to get into and move into the creation of quarter 4, right? Oh, and just to not leave it behind, if there is still sharing you need to do to get complete with quarter 3, put it on your list of things to do, someone to call, someone to get in touch with, whomever invited you to this space. and you can have that conversation and really get complete with the last quarter. So awesome. Okay, now let's move on. I didn't want to leave that in the dust. Let's create. So Q4, some big months. I don't know, I'm just making it up. But we have October, we have November, and we have December. And this happens to be one of my favorite quarters of the year, mostly for all of the holidays that are coming up. And I don't know if you are a holiday lover like I am, but you know, keeping in mind that Halloween is just like, for me, like one of the best holidays there ever was, you know, and so, you know, I'm super duper jazzed about that coming up. But yeah, I want you to take a moment and reflect on what's coming up for you in the next quarter. Maybe there is a big birthday coming up, right? Maybe for you, there are big holidays coming up. Maybe there's a big project coming up. Whatever's there, go ahead and take a moment to just in your imagination, cast yourself through those months the same way we reflected back on the last 3. Kind of bring yourself into those months and think about like, oh wow, like yeah, Thanksgiving is coming up. Have I made the phone calls to my sister-in-law? No, right? Like all of the things that it involves to start creating those holidays, those projects, and all of that. Okay. And then I want you to cast yourself to December 31st. It is the end of the day on December 31st. Maybe it's midnight, you know, maybe you're like a big New Year's Eve person. However you want to imagine it, but it is December 31st today. Today is December 31st. And we're standing in that future. And you had the most badass, miraculous Q4 you could have imagined. Like, wow, right? Things just like went. Okay? I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. And we're going to take some time here, and I want you to write in your journal, like today is December 31st, and you're looking back on the last 3 months, October, November, December, and you are writing out all of your wins, everything that happened over the last 3 months of your life, your personal life, your business life, and any other life that you have, maybe in another dimension, who knows. However you like to live, not my business. I'm just, you know, it's your world, I'm just living here. And go ahead and take some time and brag on yourself from the last 3 months, standing in December 31st. Here we go. And if anybody has any questions about this, let me know. Got about a minute here. And of course, you don't need to stop writing. I wouldn't even know with most of you if you didn't stop writing. So NBD, but about a minute before we start to wrap up. All right, and go ahead and wrap her on up. Now, this is the part that I kind of love. I want you to go back through what you just wrote as a creation of Q4 and reread it. And as you go through, actually, Heather always uses, Heather who's on the line. Hey, Heather. Heather always uses highlighters, but I didn't tell anybody to bring highlighters. I just always have highlighters on me, but I've never thought to use them in this part. But if you have something like a highlighter, that would probably work better than circling. But for a long time, I've just circled. I want you to go back through, and I want you to circle or highlight everything inside of that, what you just wrote, and circle and highlight anything that's going to look like or would need to be created as a project for you. Now, what is a project? A project is something that has to take several steps to complete. Okay, so a task is something you can throw on your calendar and get it complete, you know, in a little box on your calendar, right? A project, and it might be the same task over and over again. Like if you want to build your social media, you probably have to do the same task over and over again. That would be a project. Say you're moving your home though, that's probably going to be a bunch of different tasks, but that's still a project, right? It's bigger than just one task. So that's one aspect of a project. And the next aspect of a project, it can be an end or a means to an end of a larger project. So, you know, just to understand, like you might have like a really big project out here. Like right now I'm building a fitness curriculum, and there are a lot of little parts to that. And right now I'm making like videos coming out of my ears because we have about 250 exercise videos inside of our exercise library. So that's what I'm building right now, and that's where all of my focus is going, but it's a project, right? But that's a project inside of a really big project. Whereas, let's say your project is, I don't know, I'm just coming up with stuff right now. Let's say your project is to build your clientele up to 20 people by the end of the year, right? That might be the actual, like, you know, not the end, obviously you'd still be building, but that's what you're going for, right? It's not some project inside a bigger project. So it can be an end or a means to an end that requires several steps. And then the last piece is it's something that's above and beyond your schedule now. Let's say one of your projects is to get healthy, right? And you know, that might require food prepping. That might require putting, you know, getting workouts in, finding a personal trainer, or, you know, online fitness at comfyfitness.com, or online fitness that works for your schedule, right? So that might become a project, but if you're already somebody who's doing that, that probably wouldn't be a project because it's already in your schedule. And this is how our worlds start to expand, right? Things start to just become a part of who we are as we start to place these into our lives. So those are what projects are. I want you to read through your Q4 future and highlight or circle everything that shows up for you like a project. Okay, let's take a moment to do that. If there's any questions about that, let me know. And if you're like me and you're still writing, just keep writing. Oh, I didn't see Tamale said she had to go. Bye, Tamale. Okay, and if you're still reading through and circling your projects, keep doing that. If you're still writing, keep doing that. You know, don't let my queuing speed you up. And then what there is to do next is take a look at that, remembering that the quarter has 3 months in it. I want you to go through your highlights or your circles, and I want you to put the first letter of the month that you're going to start working on that in. And if you're going to work on it for 2 months, put both of them, both letters. So it'd be O, N, or D. And if it's going to be all three, you know, it's all three, O, N, D, right? So I want you to label for yourself the months that these are going to be worked on. And just to share with everybody, what I'm finding in mine right now is that I'm noticing projects inside of projects as I'm O, N, and D'ing it, where I'm like, ah, crap. Well, how about I start with the website for this? And then I'll, you know, in November, I'll step into, you know, and so you might be finding projects inside of projects right now. So go ahead and, you know, start to dissect that. If you're kind of in the same place that I'm at. Mhm. And of course, wherever you are is perfect. Just, keep working. So you're either still writing out what happened at the end, you are you're highlighting or circling whatever you see as a project. You're labeling what month inside of the quarter you're going to be doing those things. And then lastly here, let's take a look at the actual month of October that is upon us, right? And it starts in 5 days. And so what I want you to do next is however you want to create this, I want you to start to create what your projects for October are going to be. So what that might look like. There are two ways that I've seen it done that are really workable. And if you invent your own way, awesome. Just please share it with me because I would love to see it. One way is like the header of the project and then underline it and then bullet points of the tasks that go along with that project. That's the way I do it. And I'm a list gal and I like put little boxes next to my stuff so I can check it off and it looks really neat. That's just me. However you like to do that, that's great. Another way that I've seen it done is through a webbing. And hello, Lori. Just let you know, I'm going to mute you just so you know. The other way I've seen it done that's really effective is like webbing. So if you're a little more artistic, this might be more for you, where you put the project in the middle of a circle and then you web from there what the tasks that go with that project are. Okay. Now there are some of us who are super meticulous, and sometimes I am and sometimes I'm not. It just kind of depends on like how the project's showing up for me. And if you want to put a by when, like I'm going to have this done by October 15th. You can do that too. You can add to the task a by when. And that can be really effective when it comes to scheduling your week to week, which is what we do inside of the weekly time bender ritual. Okay, so go ahead, start to list in whatever way you see fit for yourself your October projects based in your standing in your December 31st. And you don't have to start adding the tasks just yet. Just get flat on what your projects are first. Oh, and one more thing. Just depending on what your schedule is like, I would recommend no more than 5 projects in a month. And that's like pushing it, right? So, if you're starting to put in more projects for your month of October than 5, you may want to look at what might be able to move to the month of November. And if you feel like you can take it on, like, don't let me stop you, right? Some of you are like superpowers. Yeah, 10 of them, right? And so, take a look at like, and what could that look like? How could you organize that? Because it's not like that can't be organized, right? So certainly, I mean, it's not impossible. That's for damn sure. And then if you're not already doing that, go ahead and feel free to start writing out the tasks that are inside of those projects. It does not have to get done today. What I find is I frequently find new tasks that have to fall into a project, and I just add it over there. And again, if you want to add by-whens, that can usually help organize things, especially if you have a lot of projects. I'm just going to give a minute or two more of quietness, and then I'm going to show you how I build out my calendar to end our ritual today. Okie dokie. And so with about 6 minutes left in our ritual today, I want to share with you all how I build my calendar week to week. And I use Google Calendar. If you use any kind of form of electronic calendar, I would be positive that they have the same kind of allowances that Google Calendar and abilities that Google Calendar has. But I want to share with you, and you can kind of start to, like, again, swipe what works for you, what would work for you, and what you're up to, and just throw away what doesn't work for you. And week after week, when you join the ritual, you would start to build on your calendar, build on these skills, and actually have a very maybe a busy calendar show up as like easy, or just create a ton of leisure in your life. It kind of depends on what you want, right? Like some of us, just want a lot more leisure, and that's great. So here I'm going to share my screen with everybody. And I started it with an empty calendar because I don't want to freak anybody out. All right. So one of the ways that we always start our ritual, well, after completion and our weekly ritual, is we build out our tasks list, right? And that's kind of our step one. We look at what we completed last week. We look at what still needs to get done, and we start building out our tasks list. But then the next step is when we start actually constructing the calendar. And one of the first steps to constructing the calendar is to add whatever to your calendar you know is already in existence. Because we all so frequently do not put in our calendars things that we actually plan. So on my Google Calendar, you'll see over on your left-hand side that I have several different calendars going. And if you're a serial entrepreneur like I am, that is what that looks like, right? And so the first thing, and I have all of these on repeat week after week. So if you have appointments on repeat for yourself week after week, I would recommend using an electronic calendar, is my teaching and my training calendar. So these are all my clients and classes that I see every single week. Okay, except for money creation, but somebody else put that on my calendar, so that's where it is right now. But all of these other ones, so I teach a kickboxing class in 30 minutes. Get excited, right? And so these are on repeat for me every single week. Now, the next calendar is, so this is me working in my business. This is me working on my business. So anytime I have a networking meeting, anytime that I have a fitness assessment, you'll see anytime I'm mentoring some of my trainers, that's all on this. I'm writing copy, another fitness assessment over here on Saturday. That's what the purple is. So this is actually my fitness business. And this is the space that it takes up inside of meetings and actually like being with people time. And then Kimbra, we have our 3 rituals here. So I try to make all of the rituals, and then we have our owner call here. Then I have my fun time calendar, which this week and last week was not plentiful, but that's okay. So I put all of like my me stuff on here. So there's a show I'm going to see tomorrow. There's a myofascial release class I take. I take another person's class here. I napped and I ate there. I had breakfast with somebody over here. And then personal is just like extra meetings that I have on my calendar. Like this is my coach. I see my coach at 1 on Fridays, you know, and so these are all things that, you know, make it to my calendar on, like some of them are on repeat, some of them are not. This is my service. So as I said, you know, I do a lot of activism and I do actually political punditry. So I put all of that under my service calendar, which I'm thinking I'm going to change soon too, because stuff's always changing. I might do Hard Lens Media and service because I'm about to start a new project inside of service. And then I have my talking to myself calendar. And that's the calendar where I'm checking and answering emails, where I'm sitting and promoting my business, where I'm writing blogs, where, you know, all of the stuff that I'm doing outside of other people, right? Now, this is a complete calendar from this week because I update what actually happened throughout my whole week. So every week looks a little different, you'll see. If I were to scroll through, Labor Day, didn't do anything, right? And so, and then next week, you basically just see most of my stuff that's on repeat. So you see, I put check and answer email as taking a block of an hour of time every day, right? Just so that I make sure to prepare for that. And that is how I organize my schedule on here. And then I can start to get promoting, right? I take an hour at least to promote every day, my businesses. And so this is how I organize my calendar such that I am always aware of what is so and how much time and space I actually have to play with. Okay. And then I also see, oh crap, like I need to let Kimberly and Kathy know that I need to shorten our Kimber call because I'm going to bring my coaching call up early next Friday. So then I know who to be in communication with, which is another part of our weekly ritual, is we get into communication with people who we need to reschedule, confirm, cancel, or follow up with. So this is the space where we construct our week after week. And then the assignment outside of that is just to be updating your calendar as your week goes on, so that you know what actually happened in your week, which is what that calendar looks like. Okay, so it is 5:01 now. I want to start wrapping this up for those of you who need to get going. Keep building out your projects for October. Keep your Q4 projects for the future for November and December. Don't throw those away. Join me at the end of next month to create your November. So keep the Q4 projects. And then, of course, if you do want to join the Kimbra rituals for all 3 or just 1, I'm going to stay on and chat with anybody who has further questions about actually joining up, or further questions specifically about anything that they're dealing with in the creation of their calendars and their lives. Okay? Cool. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Otherwise, I'm going to stop the recording. And I hope you guys have a powerful end of your Q3 and badass start and follow through all the way through Q4, whether I see you or not. All right? Peace, everybody.